give us some more. Got a dirt track legend and a beat-up Chevy and a rookie kid that's right foot heavy. He's searching on the high side, looking for some grip. One wrong move and he's gonna let it slip. He's leaning on the cushion, bouncing off the wall. You gotta have the guts if you're gonna have it all. Let the sparks fly high, let the header scream. Everything you got for that dirt track dream. It's a Wednesday night street fight. Hammer on the gas, tailing out and screaming, looking for the pass. From the green flag drop to the checkered flags waving. It's a Wednesday night war and the dirt we're craving. No points for pretty, no room for grace. Just a bit of bumper and a killer pace. Yeah, we're living for the slide and the engine roll. Wednesday night street fights, give us some more. Hands on the wheel, white knuckle grip, keep the nose tucked in, don't let it slip. Riding the berm, a catfish in the bottom. Find a gap and you know we got her. Wash off the mud, fix the bent up tin, just to turn around and do it all again. It's midweek mayhem underneath the lights, chasing down the checkered through these dirt track nights. It's a Wednesday night street fight, hammer on the gas, tail it out and screaming, looking for the pass. From the green flag drop to the checkered flags waving. It's a Wednesday night war and the dirt we're craving. No points for pretty, no room for grace. Just a bent up bumper and a killer pace. Yeah, we're living for the slide and the engine roll. Wednesday night street fights, give us some more.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready here for night number 2 in the Dirt Warrior Racing League's 22nd season here of the Wednesday Night Street Fights, as these Dirt Street Socks get loaded in, each and every one of them looking for the win. As we'll get ready to rumble, here are random pill draw heat races. It will be the number 57 ride. Jim Rivas. Rivas getting a good spot here and a good start this afternoon, as Rivas is going to start in that pole position here in the first heat race of the day. To his outside will be that number 19 of Dakota Brown. Starting in third will be the 216 of Jason Calhoun. To his outside in the 47 ride, it is Marcos Pace, who will start there in fourth with the beautiful DWR Dirt Panda number 71. Will Hargrave starting there in position number 5. Starting in the 6th position is the 86 machine of Brian Wells, and then we see that TNT Racing number 33 of James Ellington. The 7 of Mr. Jeremy Akins back in 8th with the 357 of Derek Rice starting there in 9th. And Jeremy Vaughn, after a good pill draw, good starting spot last week, Vaughn unfortunately got to start at the rear of the field here for heat race number 1 this afternoon. As here we go, ready to set them loose, ready to go to battle here in this one, as Rivas will see the green flag fly. As here at Lincoln Speedway, things happen in a hurry. It can be a bit of a scurry here, especially off the initial start and the restarts here this evening, as you already see them 2-3 wide in contact. Look out, there goes Jim Rivas. Rivas is around contact and damage for the 7 of Jeremy Akins, the 357 357 getting in there a little bit as well, as Will Hargreaves getting some contact there. But now out in front, leading the way, it is a battle here between Marco's Pace and Dakota Proud as we keep it clean and green. No caution flag for Wells. He moves up and into third here, and that is a spot you want to be. Top three will transfer through to our A main feature event. Everybody else will go to our consolation races here this evening, and I think for our top three, being three wide and battling this tight, I don't know if you want to take the risk. I don't know if you want to take the gamble. Every spot is another row forward that you may start here in that A main feature event, and wanting to start towards the front may be, you know, a winning strategy here this evening, but you battle hard. You put yourself into a position where you make a mistake, or the driver to your inside or your outside makes a mistake. All of a sudden, you two get tangled together like we saw with Jim Revis and that number 216 of Jason Calhoun, and you go from the front of the field to the back of the pack as Jim started on the pole, now finds himself back here in ninth and a ways away from potentially, you know, a transfer spot into the A main feature event. So isn't Jason Calhoun, who now sits back in position number 10. But for Marco's Pace, he's out in front. He's able to take that race lead away from Dakota Proud. Proud will slide back into second, and Wells sticks right there in third. But now there's contact. Look out. This is what we talked about. You do not want to have those issues. You do not want to have those problems and potentially take yourself or any of these other top three out of a transfer spot here late in this heat race, especially with a pretty sizable gap between yourselves and our fourth place driver, James Ellington. Ellington still rolling there in fourth with Jeremy Vaughn back in fifth. There's contact back there behind him as Will Hargreaves in the 357 of Derek Rice duking it out here for that 6th and 7th position. Jeremy Aiken's going to poke his nose right into that battle. Is out in front, and it is now Brian Wells who has the race lead with only a couple laps left to go here in this heat race as we inch closer and closer to our first checkered flag of the day with 2 laps left to go here in heat race number 1. Wells is sitting comfortably now out in front, but Marco is trying to hang on to second. The 19 ride of Dakota Proud trying to take it away from him, and unfortunately now running out of time as the white flag is displayed for the 33 ride of James Ellington back here in position number 4. He's just on the outside looking in as for the final time here in heat race number 1, down through 3 and out of 4, it is Brian Wells who will pick up the heat race win here this evening. So Wells picks up the first heat race win this afternoon, with Marco's Pace coming home in second, and Dakota Proud going to round out our top 3, all transferring into the A main feature event, meaning Ellington, Jeremy Vaughn, Derek Rice, Will Hargreaves, Jeremy Akins, Jim Revis, and Jason Calhoun will go to the Consis here this evening, as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go here once again as heat race number 2 about to get started, about to get underway here, our second heat race of the evening. Again, we're looking, I do believe it is still for the top 3. Let me see if we can double check it here. Yes, oh no, top 2. Top 2. So they've changed it up here a little bit. I thought it was top 3. Top 2 transfer through. Everybody else goes to the Consi. So unfortunately for Dakota Proud, came second there in that first heat race of the day. He will go to the consolation races here this evening, as well as starting on the pole here for heat race number 2. And it's Cody Ernest. Ernest will start in that pole position. To his outside will be the 20 ride. New looking paint scheme here for that 20 machine of Mr. Philip Sexton. Philip will start there in position number 2, with Jacob Sexton starting there in third, and Jeremy Sexton starting in position number 4. And then we see the number 5 ride. That is Brayson Collins. To his outside, the 4X of Ryan Howard. And then we see the 2 machine of Cameron Stefanski, the 17 ride of Dan Stifler, the 47 of Tyler Ryan, and the 822, last season's champion, and a number 822 ride, T-Jack Tyler Jackson, unfortunately having to start at the rear of the field here in this Consi. Did not get any good RNG here this evening, and not a good field draw as he'll start at the back. But here we go, getting ready to set him loose. Green flag is in the air for the 88 of Cody Ernest. So our second heat race of the day is now underway, and boy, oh boy, it's picking right up where we saw that first one kind of get started as well. craziness. Everyone knows you gotta gain these positions. You gotta work your way towards the front here as quickly as possible. There is not a lot of laps. There's not a lot of opportunities that may open up the door for you to try to jump up into one of the top 2 transfer spots, as they're almost 3 wide down and out at corner number 2 right there for Cody Ernest. They got very, very lucky for him, because if they were 3 wide, it could have shoved that 20 of Philip Sexton into his left rear quarter panel. Could have easily took him around and sent him for a ride. Luckily enough, everyone able to keep it pointing in the right direction. No major contact or issues as of yet, as you do see T-Jack back here. He's trying to work his way closer to the front, knowing that he needs to get a good run and have a solid performance here, especially if he wants to keep pace with the battle for the championship here early on in the season. And the guy he's going to be chasing, last week's winner, that 2020 of Jeremy Sexton. Jeremy rolls in position number 4 right now and has his brother and I do believe his son right in front of him here. So for Jeremy Sexton, he's kind of in a tough spot right now. He's in a tough spot, a weird area, because he wants to move forward. He wants to try to steal some of these spots to work his way into a transfer spot. But right now, he's got a couple family members right there in front of him. But he's seeing T-Jack reel into his back bumper. But out in front, it's all Cody Ernest. Ernest continuing to lead the way here, just doing a great job rolling that outside lane, able to keep his foot in the throttle. But these Sexton rides are reeling him in and putting the pressure on his back bumper halfway through this for second heat race of the day. As we do see Philip Sexton able to use that middle to outside lane to his advantage. He does pull ahead and into position number 2 for Jacob Sexton. He's hoping to try to hang on to that 3rd spot, but still hoping that maybe they can all work their way around this 88 ride for Cody Ernest. He's trying to do everything he can, not only to keep this TNT Racing ride pointing in the right direction, but also trying to keep himself out in front, knowing how important it would be to start here potentially on the front row for our main feature event this evening. And right now he's hanging on to the top spot and looking to try to win our second heat race of the day. 2 laps left to go. Top 2 transfer through into the feature event. Everybody else will go to the consolation races, as you do see Jeremy Sexton. Jeremy jumps up into position number 3. T-Jack now trying to work his way up and into 4th here, trying to work his way around Jacob Sexton as the white flag has been displayed. So one more time around here for the 88 of Cody Ernest, but he's got to try to keep the 20 right of Philip Sexton back there at bay. Is down through 3 and out of 4. Drag race back to the line. It is Cody Ernest who will pick up the second heat race win this evening. Philip Sexton will come home in second. Both will transfer their way into the A-Main feature event, where Jeremy Sexton, Tyler Jackson, Jacob Sexton, and the rest of our field there will all go to our consolation races here this evening, as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to roll here for heat race number 3 this afternoon. As Alex Wright says, Tyron is a dog. He's a dog, is he? I have no idea who that is. Mama Bear always in the chat showing the love. We appreciate Mama Bear tuning in, and my boy James Beavers in the chat as well. Says, what's up? Been a little while. Yeah, it's been a little while, James, but great to see you here in the chat, tuning in and enjoying some great racing action here this evening, as we'll get ready to stack these drivers up. We'll get ready to go to battle for our 3rd heat race of the day. Starting on the pole in the number 5 machine, the 5H, it is Chris Hill, who will start out in front. To his outside will be the TNT Racing number 21 ride of Shane Matthews. Starting in position number 3, the TNT Racing Memphis Grizzlies ride, it is Tim the Toolman Taylor who will start there in 3rd. To his outside in the 7, it is Jacob Stefanski who will start there in that 4th spot on the Speedway. Starting in 5th will be that 61 of Josh Peacock in the JP Designs Bulletproof Motorsports ride. Chad Puderpope there in position number 6 with Ty Dickinson back in 7th, and the TNT Racing number 45 of Steve Stephen Burrow will round out our top 8. Unfortunately, Joseph Grandy not getting started here in this heat races. Here we go quickly, seeing that green flag fly as Chris Hill gets a great launch, a good jump in for the 5H, hoping to try to pull away and keep himself at the front of the field. As Mama Bear says, let's go Ty Dickinson, and Martin in the chat as well says hello. Hey, how are you, Martin? As oh, look out, a little contact back there behind him. Chad Puderbo, Ty Dickinson, the 99 of Tim Taylor, all kind of getting into it right here. And for the 67 ride of Ty Dickinson, now loses that front bumper. Now just trying to hang on to it, hoping not to have too much damage, as we are skipping frames right here, chat. What is going on? Frames are down to 133, 100. What in the world is going on here? We're supposed to be running 200 frames per second or better. What in the world is happening? But out in front, it is Chris Hill who continues to lead the way. Jacob Stefanski there in second. Shane Matthews back in third with Josh Peacock and Chad Puderbo rounding out our top 5 here on the Speedway. But right now, it's a battle for the top 2 as Stefanski's looking to try to take over the race lead. Chris Hill right there with them in this hunt at the front and trying to keep this battle up here at the front of the field and hoping to try to keep himself at the front for the next 6 laps of racing action. But with Stefanski working to his inside, putting the pressure on him with Matthews, Peacock right there ready to pounce. And man, for Peacock, great turnaround here for that P61 machine, that bulletproof motorsports ride. We saw him have a bit of a rough start to the season last week at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Just couldn't really get anything rolling, couldn't really find any speed out of that 61 ride. But here tonight, looks like he's kind of got the ship righted and pointed back in the right direction. And for Peacock, trying to rejoin his old winning ways and trying to put himself right into the thick of things here this evening, as Chris Hill still trying to hang on to the top spot, washes up the racetrack right there. It opens up the door for Stefanski to finally roll around him, slide up in front of him, and for the Tommy Gun Customs number 7X ride, Stefanski in the Sunrise Racing Machine jumps out in front with 3 laps left to go. That Cocky Floyd Consulting ride, though, of Chris Hill sitting in that second and final transfer spot has Shane Matthews and Josh Peacock back there battling for position number 3. And that's exactly what Chris Hill wants to see. The more time that they may spend battling side by side for second may allow him to run away, but he's not going to get too long of that battle as Peacock gets a little bit loose down through corner 1 and 2, and it brings Chad Puderbo right there to his outside as Puderbo for Sheriff, as I know he's put his name into the run for, I do believe, police chief or sheriff. I don't know what they call it down there. I'm pretty sure it's police chief of, his area, and definitely if you're in that area, vote for Puderbo. As out in front, it is Jacob Stefanski who will pick up the 3rd heat race win here this evening. Chris Hill will come home in that second and final transfer spot into the A-Main feature event, where Matthews, Puderbo, Peacock, Burrow, Dickinson, and everyone else will go to our consolation race here this evening. And now for this consolation race, what are we going to be looking at here, chat? We're going to be looking at our B main, maybe even a C main. Looks like we have skipped the C main and the B main. Yeah, it looks like we've skipped both of them, so it looks like we're starting them all again. I thought we were starting only like 25 cars or something for these feature events, and it looks like it has skipped the B main and the C main once again, and we are going to be starting, I believe, 30 drivers here, 29 drivers this afternoon. All right, so that's going to make things a little bit more interesting, a little bit more, a little bit more fun for these drivers, as that's going to bring a whole different ball game into this feature event, and having them all have to duke it out here this evening. As Evan Stefanski in the chat says, Jake already has this in the bag. Just give him the W already. Well, Evan, you called it there for the heat race. That is for certain. You definitely called it for the heat race. Feature event may be a whole different ball game, but definitely looking good. Definitely looking pretty strong. And after winning that heat race, Evan Stefanski called the shot and got it right there, man. That is a lucky star right there for Evan Stefanski calling that one right. Let's put a W into Stefanski's column here as well on the stream for making the right call there on that one, with Mr. Stefanski picking up the win there in that third heat race. All these drivers jumping out onto the racetrack here, a quick warm-up session as they work on their race cars, making sure that they are absolutely perfect, ready to rock and roll, and ready to duke it out here for our A main feature event here this evening. We're going to be right back. We're going to get a quick drink into us, and we'll get ready for our A main feature event. So don't go anywhere, and make sure you guys hit the like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button as we get ready to set these drivers loose in just a few more moments for our A main here this evening.
The sun drops low and the lights kick on. Midweek madness till the break of dawn. The boys are back where the clay is slick, hammered down while the air gets thick. It's a game of inches and a lot of nerve, trading pain on every curve. It's a street fight on a circle of clay, chasing the ghost for a win today. Riding the verb, a catfish in the bottom, find a gap and you know we got 'em. A roll of the dice on a win or a loss, playing with fire, no matter the cost. The needle's buried, headers glow red, banging on doors just to get ahead. Tires lose bite as the back end slides. Hold on tight for the white knuckle ride. Scraping the wall and twisting the tip, paying the dues just to chase that win. It's a street fight on a circle of clay, chasing the ghost for a win today. Riding the berm, a catfish in the bottom, find a gap and you know we got 'em. A roll of the dice on a win or a loss, playing with fire, no matter the cost. Eyes on the flag, waiting for the snap, trading dirt on every lap. Mud on the visor, fire in the soul. One man's wreck is another man's goal.
Woo! Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you came here for a show. Well, here you go, as our A main feature event is about to get underway. And if you guys haven't already, make sure you jump into the comment section. Let us know who you're cheering for and who you want to see up in victory lane here this evening, as Cody Ernest in the 86 of Brian Wells will lead us to the green flag here this evening at Lincoln Speedway for our second race of the Dirt Warrior Racing League's Wednesday night street fights 22nd season, as the pace truck will make the hard left-hand turn here this evening. Ernest, Wells, 1 and 2, ready to set us loose, ready to go to battle here in this one. Is out at corner number 4. We will end all the anticipation with our feature presentation as we are quickly green flag racing here at Lincoln. As the 86 of Wells able to get a great launch, great start here, clears the 88 Ryan, but sticks with that inside lane as things are going to get slicker and slicker, and it's going to get tough as look out. Oh, baby. The 7 is Stefanski, a little bit of contact there, ended up into that inside fence, and luckily enough though, no heavy damage, able to keep on rolling, but does lose a couple spots here early on this afternoon. Now in the middle of a fight between a pair of Stefanski, or not Stefanskis, Sextons out there on the racetrack, and for Philip Sexton, dang near almost had an issue right there for the 7X ride and that 20 machine. Luckily enough, both drivers again able to keep their rides pointed the right direction, but it is a dogfight up and down throughout the field as everyone is looking to try to race their way up towards the front of the field. You do see Tyler Jackson, T-Jack back here in that 10th position, looking to try to pick and choose his way through the field and hoping to have something left in the tank for late in this race. You look back here at Jacob Sexton. Jacob, was our hard charger last week. He had a great run and a great drive for that number 101 machine, and he is hoping to kind of get back into the battle here this evening and hoping to race his way up towards the front of the field here and see if he can put on another masterclass from a little deeper in the pack and towards the front here, but not starting really too deep. You got to look a little bit farther back when you start to look at drivers like Dan Stifler, Ty Dickinson. You look at, Jim Revis, Tim Taylor, a lot of these drivers that start outside our top 20 that are going to have to try to play this very, very patiently. Unfortunately, we did see two drivers not make it out onto the racetrack here for this feature event. Chris Hill and Joseph Grandy did not jump out there onto the racetrack. As Logan Perriman, what's good, Logan? Logan says, Lincoln is a top dominant track. It is for a certain extent. Once that top really starts to get burned off, you're going to see a lot of drivers like that 47 of Marco's pace kind of roll in that inside lane. You can really run that inside groove here, hug that inside wall, keep the car as straight as possible, and you end up saving a ton of tire by running that bottom lane. When you're sliding through these corners or you're running up against that outside fence, you really start to burn off that right rear more and more and more. So when it comes to, a 70 lap feature event, you gotta be a little bit smart here on a little bit of tire conservation. Try to save a little bit of that tire and try to keep yourself into a position for late in this race, because we're bound to see, I'm assuming, at least a caution flag or two, man. When you look back throughout this field and see how these drivers are duking it out, man, you got to imagine we're gonna see at least maybe a yellow or two here this evening, as it is a absolute hornet's nest back here. You do see Jeremy Vaughn and Stephen Burrow right here there at the front of this pack, kind of running in about that 14th, 15th position. Bryson Collins right there with them in that beautiful 5B run. Going to look down to the inside here of Jeremy Vaughn, and they throw in Cameron Stefanski in the Sunrise Racing number 2 machine there in 17th. Tyler Ryan, Josh Peacock, Will Hargreaves back here as well in that 20th position. Will, one of the best to do it here in the dirt street stock. Seeing him back here outside the, top 15, top 10 right now is crazy to see, and him rolling back here in that 20th position, definitely not a spot we're used to seeing that Grumpy Graphics DWR Dirt Panda ride. So we'll have to wait and see if Will can continue battling his way up towards the front here. Same with Peacock right in front of him. You look back at Ty Dickinson rolling in 24th, Tim Taylor there in 25th, Jim Revis and Dan Stifler rounding out our field back in 26th. In 27th, there's a lot of fast cats and a lot of good drivers that are still deep in this field. And you look at, last season's champion, the 8 ride, Mr. Tyler Jackson. T-Jack rolling back here in about the 11th, 10th position here, battling door to door with Chad Puterbo. Puterbo will jump up and steal that 10th spot from Tyler Jackson. So for T-Jack, rolling back here in about that 10th spot out there on the racetrack at 11th. This is pretty deep in the field, being already 14, 15 laps into this race. You got to imagine that Tyler is trying to run a little bit of strategy here himself. He hasn't really gained anything, hasn't given anything up, but you have to imagine that he is not pushing that race car very hard here this evening. But out in front, it's all Cody Ernest, as Logan says, come on 88, let's get it all, son. Cheered on Mr. Ernest here this evening as Cody out in front, continuing to lead the way and trying to open up a bit of a lead here, maybe give himself a bit of an advantage out there on the racetrack. If this stays clean and green, it's going to play nicely into his hands here. But if we start to see some of those caution flags fly, we start to see some of these drivers that may be saving tires, back there deeper in the field that are kind of waiting in the wind here, kind of playing a little bit slower and just waiting patiently for their time to strike, kind of just shark in the water back there, especially when you look at the Alpha Shark, Tyler Jackson. They're in the 11th position. And you take a look right behind him, Jacob Sexton. You know, Sexton, he's one of those drivers that we tend to see really move through the field and work his way through that traffic. And early on, it seems like he's kind of playing it smart here as well. Maybe just, you know, realizing, hey, you know what? T-Jack usually has a good game plan, usually makes his way towards the front late in these races. So if he can kind of just follow in line, stick right there on the back bumper of this 8 machine, maybe he can follow Tyler Jackson towards the front of the field here and maybe into a great finish this afternoon. As out in front, Cody Ernest, Marcos Pace 1 and 2, as you start to see a lot more of these drivers starting to roll that inside lane, especially now kind of realizing that it's starting to roll more into that long run race here this afternoon. We're starting to see a good set of green flag laps, and for these drivers, they got to play it a little bit smarter. But as I say that, our first caution flag of the day is going to fly as Tim the Toolman Taylor turned around, pointed the wrong direction. That is our first caution flag of the evening, and it looks like potentially the 67 of Ty Dickinson kind of getting collected in this one as well. A little contact there with the 4X Ryan, but right in front of him is Tim the Toolman Taylor, and it looks like Sweet T is just going to get in there a little bit too far. Oh, tough break right there for the Papa Mike Promotions number 67 Riders. He's just going to get in there a little bit too deep, a little bit too far here, and ends up running into the back end of this number 99 Riders. Here comes that 618 engraving. Mama Bear, Metcalf, Symptography, sideway ride as he's able to send it in there deep. Unfortunately, not as deep as the TNT Racing Memphis Grizzlies ride, and that's where they get collected. That's where they end up parked in, pointing the wrong direction, where we see the yellow flag get displayed. So for the number 67, he's able to get turned around quickly enough here that he stays in front of our race leaders. There goes Cody Ernest, the 47, the 2020 ride, just getting by the 99 there. Luckily enough, no contact or big issues there for our race leaders, and able to keep on battling here this evening. Unfortunately for Tim the Toolman Taylor, I do believe Timmy is going to fall a lap down here this evening for Sweet T. He'll go to the rear of the field for causing that caution flag, and he'll have to look to try to rebound and gain some positions here and try to get back up into a little bit better of a position late in this race. But there's still a lot of laps, still a lot of time to navigate your way up towards the front. As out in front, the 88 of Cody Ernest. Delaware final restarts here. He's got the front row all to himself. The driver's back behind him. Door to door here for this restart, as here we go back to green flag racing. And oh baby, getting a little bit sketchy there on the restart. We saw Tyler Jackson get very sideways. Looked like the 357 may have gotten into his rear end, gave him a shot, almost turned him around, and we are going to see the caution flag fly. So it looks like another issue here on the restart may even been for this contact right here, as hanging back a little bit more, getting a bit of an earlier jump, just gets in there with a little bit too much speed, runs into the back end of the 822, and I think maybe just kind of getting stopped there on the racetrack a little bit, maybe brought that caution flag out for the 357 and the 822 of Tyler Jackson. We also see the 45 back here, so there it is. A little contact here. We see things stacking up, and it starts even with that 357 ride right here. That's where we see him trying to get caught up to that number 8 ride. So things happening back here behind him, things stacking up on the inside. They all start to pile in there. Unfortunately, that's, right there. You see the 357 sideways checked up. That's where he gets onto the throttle and tries to make up that ground and ends up running in to Tyler Jackson. But you see Stephen Burrow, the 7 ride of Aikens. There's the 61 ride of Peacock right in there, as well as Jim Reeves, the 99 ride. Sweet T, all these drivers having to get checked up, trying to avoid carnage here, even before we see that green flag come back out. So a quick caution flag, our second of the day there, back to back is cautions breed cautions, and we'll stack them up, rack them up, see if we can get this one restarted nicely, see if we can get another couple laps under our belt here as we'll get ready to rumble back down and across Corner number 3 and 4, it's all to the discretion of this 88 ride. Cody Ernest kind of sets the pace here and gets the launch out in front and being our ranks leader. He's going to kind of play those mind games on starting early, starting later, trying to figure out a way to get a bit of a jump and give himself a little bit of an extra advantage between him and that number 2020 ride of Jeremy Sexton and Marco's pace. As Marco's going to stick with the outside, Sexton will stick with the inside here, and that gives him a great restart and a great launch right there. He's going to slide up in front of Marco's pace. Now they're tight together, though. Contact. Here comes Stefanski right into the mix of it. Brian Wells right there as well. Wells gets a little contact there between him and his Cocky Floyd Consulting teammate. As him and the 47 made contact, he got up, bit the outside fence right there a little bit. Luckily enough, able to keep it pointed the right direction and keeps on rolling. Look at Shane Matthews sliding it through the middle of the corner right there. That is a dangerous call, but luckily enough, able to keep it pointed the right way, but we still see that caution flag flies. It looks like maybe Jason Calhoun, Dan Stifler, Ty Dickinson potentially all getting tied up here in some issues. As here comes Calhoun, sends it into the corner. Contact in front of him. Oh, that's Jeremy Vaughn. Oh, no. So Vaughn, and I do believe it is the 5 ride of Bryson here. Bryson Collins. They're going to make some contact. And for Vaughn, as the contact's made right there, kind of just tail tags him, kicks that rear end out. He goes around, and as he does, he ends up driving into the 7 ride of Aikens, and then all of a sudden for Jason Calhoun, nowhere for him to go. Hard contact into the back end of that 3 ride. The 4X of Ryan Howard, nowhere to go. Then here comes Stifler trying to avoid the 3, ends up driving right into the driver's side door of that 216 ride. Luckily enough for Sweet Tea, Mr. Ty Dickinson, able to just avoid some of that contact, and luckily enough able to keep on rolling. But a few more drivers getting some, good damage here this afternoon, because this is a track that tends to kind of build a lot of that damage. That's something we're going to see all evening long, whether it's the tail tags when these drivers send it into the corner, they kind of lose that rear end. The car that could be to their outside kind of gets bounced around, and if they get bounced up into the outside fence, or as we saw with the 3 ride sideways on the racetrack, they cut back down, and things happen quickly and tightly here. So obviously not a lot of time to avoid any carnage out there on the racetrack, and that just brings us right back to stacking them up in another big restart here this evening. As here we go for the 88. Cody Ernest gets the launch he was looking for, getting a good jump here, trying to keep that 2020 of Jeremy Sexton back there at bay as they start to pile up back here again as well. Looks like Jeremy Vaughn going to get collected again as the caution flag will come back out. Looks like Vaughn and Josh Peacock potentially going to get collected here. So on the restart, a little bit of a rough start there for that 357 ride of Rice. Rice sends it into the corner, contact with the 47, and again, it is Bryson Collins who's going to end up into the 3 ride here, and this is what we tend to see here. Some drivers maybe playing a little bit safer, maybe trying to roll a little less into the corner. That's something we're going to see throughout this one, especially later in this race. So drivers tend to run this track a whole lot differently. Some drivers will drive it deep into the corners. It'll give them a really good corner entry, but a little bit of a rougher corner exit. Other drivers will back it down a little bit, get a little slower on corner entry, and that's where we see them get ran over. But really, it is the bent out of shape ride here. So if you watch that 357, even on the restart here, you watch the 357, he's in the slick stuff on that inside lane. He tries to get a bit of a jump here. He's the blue car, a couple rows up on the inside, tries to get a jump right there, kind of loses the rear end, spins the tires, washes down to the inside. All of a sudden, they're kind of 2-3 wide and down into corner number 1. He's going to slide up the track, almost runs through that 47 ride, does make contact there with Tyler Ryan, but kind of tail tanks the 5B machine of Bryson Collins. That's what gets him back up into the 3 ride of Jeremy Vaughn. That gets Vaughn turned around, nowhere to go for Josh Peacock again as he ends up making hard contact with that outside fence. Heavy damage there for both drivers as we'll try it all over again. Another restart here as we are back to green flag racing for Cody Ernest. Man, he's getting a lot of restarts. I don't know if he's happy to see them or hates to see them because, man, this is a lot of big restarts. A lot of times that these drivers can get some good launches, some good runs here, and potentially try to steal the race lead away from him, and that takes away the advantage of the Delaware final restart for the 88 ride if he loses that race lead. But we still got a lot of laps left to go here in this one, man. Still a lot of time to try to figure things out, to fall backwards, to move yourself forwards here, and just to try to keep yourself in the action here in a battle out there on the racetrack is for Cody Ernest with the race lead nice and easy down across the line. Now he's up into the outside fence. Look out, that was some pretty significant contact there for Cody Ernest. May have sent it in there a little bit too deep as that outside lane, it is starting to get thinner and thinner there, especially on corner entry, and that's something we're going to have to keep a close eye on, because on corner entry here, you get up too far, you get up too high, you bounce it off the fence too much. You know, you get called for wall riding, you run into an issue where you blow that right front to pieces. And as this race continues on, we got a long ways away to go here. But now for the 88 ride, he's in a tight battle. Back down across the line is Jeremy Sexton. Last week's winner trying to make it 2 in a row here to start this season. After coming home second in the point standings last year in season 21 of the Wednesday night street fights, Jeremy Sexton, he has got a fire lit under him and looking to try to win back-to-back races and really get a bit of an advantage and a stranglehold here on the field and on that championship battle after a couple of races here this season. And here he is again battling here with that 88 for the race lead. Jacob Sexton right there with him as he rolls in that third position. Marco Spakes back in fourth. Then we see Philip Sexton rounding out our top 5. Brian Wells, Dakota Proud, James Ellington, Jacob Sexton, and Tyler Jackson rounding out our top 10 as the caution flag does come back out. Looks like Chad Puderbo is going to run into some issues here. So for the Mama Scholler Chassis number 20 ride, looks like right here, yeah, contact from the 47 of Tyler Ryan is going to get him kind of turned around right here. And this is exactly what we talked about. Okay, let's play this forward a little bit more. So if you watch the 20 machine here, he's going to back the corner down a little bit on the on entry right here. He backs the corner up. The 47 sends it in there a little bit deeper, trying to roll more of that outside lane and carry that outside momentum. Unfortunately, drives in there too far, too deep, runs into the back end of the 20. Ryan just virtually jacks him up, turns him sideways. And as he's pointing the wrong direction, here comes Bryson Collins, the 71, right of Will Hargreaves. Nowhere to go for either of these drivers. They all end up making some pretty significant contact here. And unfortunately for Puderbo and the 71, good contact down low into the inside fence and heavy damage there for both drivers out there on the racetrack. A pair of DWR rides ending up with some pretty significant damage as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, and ready to try to go back to green flag racing here. See if we can get another good green flag run. We started off with a great green flag run, running, I do believe, 22, 23 laps, clean and green to start this feature event. Now it's been a little bit of, back-to-back caution flags here on the racetrack, and now we're going to get ready for another restart here this evening after, it was our 5th caution flag here, really over the last, 10 laps or so of this feature event. As Mama Schuller in the chat says, bumper cars tonight. Bumper cars tonight is a great way to summarize the action out there. It is definitely going to be bumper cars, and only being halfway through this feature event for all these drivers, it's just going to continue on, and it could get worse and worse and worse. As Sexton out in front, we see Stefanski jump up and into second as Cody Ernest, our outside pole sitter here, unfortunately kind of falling backwards. He's still rolling that outside lane, but he lost a couple spots on that restart. Now he's in the middle of 3, almost 4 wide, down and out of corner number 2, and for the 88, just rolling that outside lane, it really starts to look like that's falling away. Outside groove starting to fall off here. A lot of these drivers starting to find that good speed through the middle and bottom of this racetrack. And for Jeremy Sexton, he's hoping to use it to try to run away with it, but they're stacking up down on the inside. Caution flag will come back out as we got a parking lot back here in corner number 1 and 2. It is a parking lot here this evening at Lincoln Speedway as things started to stack up in a quick hurry here towards the front of the field. Let's take a look back at the 47 right on Marco's pace. So taking a look here at Marco's, running at about the 4th position. As his Sexton paint and body teammate right in front of him, and there it is. Contact, I do believe, between him and the 19 ride of Dakota Proud. So Proud down low, sends it in there. The 47 trying to roll that middle, but backs the corner up. And unfortunately for the 19 ride, sent it in there a little bit too deep. Slides up into that left rear quarter panel of Marco's Pace, and that's what kind of gets both of them kind of turned around and into the inside fence. And then all of a sudden, nowhere to go. If you're the 21 ride of Shane Matthews, if you're the 2 of Cameron Stefanski, they get timed together down low. Then everyone else is trying to avoid it as everyone starts to check up here. You see Hargreaves, you see Jim Rivas. These drivers are all trying to just get stacked up, or just trying to, not get stacked up, trying to roll out of the throttle and hoping to keep themselves out of the chaos. And unfortunately, not so lucky here in this one. As here they go, they just all start to pile in there. Here comes Jim and the 71 ride. As they see it happening, they see 2 cars parked right here in front of them. They're rolling out of it, and then all of a sudden they all just start to pile in there, not realizing there's a couple cars already parked in front of them. You see Tyler Ryan up into the outside fence. Dan Stifler's in there. The 216 ride of Calhoun's there. You look at Peacock, Tim Taylor, Chad Puderbo, all having to get stopped there to avoid it. Same with that 3 ride of Jeremy Vaughn. He has to get stopped. Here comes the 357 of Rice. Oh no, Rice came from a ways away here. He came into this one quite a bit later. Still ended up making contact into it. I don't know how he still ended up driving into this, man. They're piled up here, and all of a sudden, here he comes. The 216's trying to get turned around, and Rice still ends up getting a little bit of contact there. So, unfortunately for a lot of these drivers, a lot of contact, a lot of carnage here this evening, and they were not done seeing it yet because it is still an absolute dogfight back here. They are still bouncing off of one another. They're still, using these full fender machines to their, usage here this afternoon. It is a lot of rubbing and scrubbing. It is elbows up racing here at Lincoln Speedway here this evening. Is out in front. The Mad Dog, the 2020 of Jeremy Sexton, continues to lead the way with Jacob Stefanski and Philip Sexton rounding out our top 3. Marco's Pace rolls there in 4th with Brian Wells back in that 5th position. T-Jack Tyler Jackson has found his way up into the 6th position here as he battles door to door with Cody Ernest. Ernest still rolling that outside lane, trying to stay with it here. Unfortunately, kind of just not really keeping pace here with that, middle to bottom groove out there on the racetrack. And for the 88 ride, this is going to prove potentially difficult for him, especially if he continues to lose more and more positions out there on the racetrack. You do see Ellington there as well, as Ernest does make hard contact with that outside fence again. Now his TNT Racing teammate gets a piece of him, gets sideways. Luckily enough, both drivers able to keep it pointed the right direction, but that is just going to hurt their chances even more here this evening, as that lost a bit of time for Cody Ernest. It brings Cameron Stefanski right into the battle now for position number 7, and unfortunately for the 33 of Ellington, he falls all the way back into position number 10. So he'll be looking to try to regain those 2 or 3 spots that he just lost out there on the racetrack. As Jeremy Sexton, though, Sexton out in front. As this race lead, man, he has set sail. He is looking to run away with this one. And now with about a 1-second lead between himself and a teammate, as Philip Sexton works his way up and into position number 2 out there on the racetrack. Man, this is a great run for Phil as well this afternoon, running in position number 2, able to work his way back around Jacob Stefanski. They're hoping to see this 47 of Marco's Pace may be able to jump back up and into 3rd here. If Marcos can jump into 3rd, it would be a Sexton paint and body. Cocky Floyd Consulting 1, 2, and 3 out there on the speedway. That's exactly what they're hoping for, and they got another teammate back there as well with Brian Wells, trying to keep himself inside the top 5. Gets a good piece of the outside fence right there. Will open up the door a little bit more for T-Jack Tyler Jackson. The Alpha Shark mark to try to jump back up and inside our top 5 for the first time this afternoon. So for Tyler Jackson, he joins the top 5. We knew it wouldn't take him, too long, but a very patient driver and just taking care of his equipment, trying to take care of the tires here throughout this feature event. Now joining the top 5. We'll have to wait and see if T-Jack has anything left in the tank here for the 4 cars left in front of him. Here comes Wells and that 2 rider, Cameron Stefanski. Cameron's been working his way up here as well. He's gained 11 positions out there on the racetrack, and as of right now, one of our hard chargers here on the racetrack. But right now, caution flag will come back out. Looks like Tim the Toolman Taylor going to run into some more issues. Let's take a look here. TNT Racing Memphis Grizzlies ride down into, I do believe this is core number 3 and out of 4. A little contact there with Tyler Ryan as he gets into the back end of the 47 ride. Kind of loses the nose here, and as he does, kind of shoots down the racetrack, gets checked up, and as he does check up, nowhere to go here for Dan Stifler. Stifler's going to run right into him. Nowhere to go for Jim Rivas as he ends up getting some pretty solid contact into that as well. So doesn't Derek Rice as Rice drives right underneath that 57 ride. Both drivers with some pretty significant damage, and that will put us back under the yellow flag here this evening for, I do believe now, caution flag number 7 on the night. So our 7th caution flag, and the battles continue to brew in the Dukin here this evening is not over. With 22 laps left to go, it is still anybody's race, anybody's game to try to find victory lane here today. Who do you guys think gets it done? Does Jeremy Sexton hang on to it? Do we potentially see Phillip jump up there and put himself into victory lane? What about Jacob Stefanski or maybe Marcos Pace? This may be one of his final times out there battling in the Wednesday night street fights for a little while, starting his new apprenticeship here in the next couple weeks, and unfortunately he's going to miss a lot of time here on the simulator, so this may be the last chance dance for the 47 of Marcos Pace. For T-Jack, does he get back into his winning ways, find his way into victory lane? Maybe Wells, Cameron Stefanski, Jacob Sexton. What about Cody Ernest, our early race leader, or maybe even that 4X Orion Howard? Who is going to find victory lane here this evening as we get back to green flag racing? For Jeremy Sexton, good jump, good restart here. Trying to keep, half a car length or so between himself and his brother, Phillip Sexton, out there on the racetrack as Phillip and Jeremy now duking it out. 1 and 2 out there on the speedway. They do see Stefanski sticking right there with them in that 3rd position. Here comes Pace and Tyler Jackson. T-Jack trying to roll that inside lane here, still hoping to try to work his way around this 47 ride and into position number 4 on the speedway, and hoping to continue to pick these guys off and race his way to the front of the field. You do see the 2 rider, Cameron Stefanski. He's right there in that battle as it is again a dogfight back here. Deeper in the field, just inside our top 10. You take a look and they're 2-3 wide here as all of a sudden you throw in Bryson Collins. You throw in that 71 of Will Hargreaves. Here comes Wells. Unfortunately, Wells has fallen all the way back to 12th position now on the racing surface, and for Brian Wells, falling back in a quick hurry. So is Cody Ernest now back into 10th as here comes Ellington, Ty Dickinson. Sweet T's worked his way up into about that 13th spot on the racetrack. So for Sweet T, he's starting to really pick and choose his way up towards the front of the pack here in this one, as well as a lot of these other drivers. Take a look back here at Peacock, Tyler Ryan, Jeremy Akins, even Jeremy Vaughn. Some of these guys that have been back here deeper in the field throughout this feature event, slowly but surely navigating their way towards the front. Can they make some late race charges and come home with some pretty solid finishes here this evening, as Jeremy Sexton continuing to lead the way, just wants to see these laps get clicked off as quickly as possible, wants to hopefully have Phillip Sexton in the 7X of Jacob Stefanski kind of in between himself and that 8 rider Tyler Jackson. As we know, T-Jack, Phillip Sexton, Jeremy Sexton, even Jacob Stefanski, man, a lot of these guys up inside our top 4 this afternoon are going to be, you know, tough competitors for that championship throughout this season. And for right now, it is Jeremy Sexton. After a big win last week at Charlotte, he's hoping to try to pick up his back-to-back win to start this season and try to keep Phillip in the rest of the field back there at bay as a pair of Sextons out in front. But here comes Tyler Jackson, T-Jack, all over the back bumper here of the 7X ride of Jacob Stefanski, trying to figure out a way to get around the 7X, but he's got to be careful. He does not give anything back here to Marco's Pace. His Pace is right there, ready to pounce and ready to jump back up into position number 4 and continue to look for more here himself, because he does have Cameron Stefanski back there behind him. We take a look at Ryan Howard now up into 7th, Jacob Sexton there in 8th, and then Brayson Collins, Will Hargreaves, Cody Ernest, our top 10 out there on the racetrack. James Ellington scored back there in 11th, with Ty Dickinson working his way up and into 12th here. Now in a battle, trying to work his way around the pair of TNT Racing rides here in 10th and 11th, and trying to work this beautiful Metcalf ride up and in to a top 10 finish here this evening, because the Papa Mike Promotion 618 laser engraving ride, he's right in the thick of it here. Great to see Ty once again back out there on the racetrack and duking it out here, but also right back into the middle of the fight here, you know, just outside our top 10. And now we see Peacock poking his nose down to the inside of this 67 ride, but here comes even more fast cats. Tyler Ryan, Jeremy Vaughn, they're right there, but oh, look how they're stacking up. Oh, baby, Peacock runs into issues. Looks like they got a little squirrely back down across the start-finish line. Let's take a look at it. Sweet Tea was kind of right in the middle of it, but they may have been 3 wide. Oh, right there. A little 3 wide. Looked like Sweet Tea kind of came up the racetrack maybe a little bit there and into the 33 machine. Let's take another look at it here. So Sweet Tea's back here, and it looks like he kind of, you know, slides up the track maybe just a little bit, or maybe the 33 cutting down here. He gets a little loose, but right here you really see the 33 shooting down the racetrack. 67 kind of gets straightened out there, and as he gets straightened out, the 33 cutting down, they run out of racing room. They make contact. Ellington bounces off of Peacock, and it shoves Peacock down into that inside fence. Tyler Ryan gets a good chunk of that 33 machine, and unfortunately, you know, 3-4 drivers right there getting some pretty significant damage. And unfortunately for number 61, man, no lucky breaks here this evening. That's 61, right? Let's see if we can get another look at it here. See where Peacock, he gets turned back around quickly enough that he may keep, you know, still a pretty solid position. May have only lost about 4 or 5 spots right here as the car kind of kicks back around. You see about that 3-4 cars get around him. He gets back onto the throttle, keeps himself in about the 16th position here for this restart, as we will get them all stacked up, racked up, and ready to go back to Green Flag Racing, as that was not the only issue to bring that caution flag out. We also had a few other drivers running into problems here potentially. Take a look at Marco's Pace right here. So Marco sends it into the corner. Stefanski sends it in there as well. That is Cameron Stefanski, who also runs in there a little too far. Jacob Sexton ends up nowhere to go here as well, as right there, contact. Cameron Stefanski, Marco's Pace, the 101 of Jacob Sexton, also getting collected. You also see more drivers pile into that afterwards. It's another issue for that caution flag. So kind of, you know, compounding issues here out there on the racetrack as they continue to kind of play bumper cars out there on the speedway, and we'll stack them up, rack them up, get ready to try to do it all over again, try to go back to Green Flag Racing, as and we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. The laps are clicking down here in a quick hurry. And for Jeremy Sexton, Phillip Sexton, you know, they sit 1 and 2 out there on the racetrack. That's Jacob Stefanski, Tyler Jackson, Ryan Howard, Will Hargreaves, Bryson Collins. So they got anything left of the tank to jump up here and try to steal this win away from the Sextons at the front of the pack, as the lights are still on the official iRacing pace truck. We're waiting for those to turn off and get ready to go back to battle here in this one, because the laps have clicked down here in a quick hurry. looked like caution laps there over the last couple laps have been counting. So we're actually down now already to 65 laps out of this race. It's about to be 4 laps left to go here for this restart, but the pace truck staying out on the racetrack for another lap, so this is going to shorten it up even more. They just clicked off lap number 66, so I'm not sure if it's the last 10 laps or something that these caution laps are counting. We saw that wreck and that issue happen on lap number 60, and we've already ran about 6 laps under yellow, so this is shortening the race up quite a bit, ladies and gentlemen. So this is going to make things that much more intense. Hopefully a lot of these other drivers kind of realize that the laps were counting and that they were running an issue right there, and that they may have ran out of time here to try to gain those extra spots. As here we go. Green flag back out into the air for Jeremy Sexton, as Jeremy hoping to keep himself in the winner's circle, but there's contact. Look out, they're stacking up. Oh, baby, look out as it's a battle here. Caution flag is back out. It is potentially going to be Tyler Jackson as our race leader. Oh, baby, this is definitely not what you wanted to see, because they piled in there. I think drivers realized that, yep, they knew it was time to go. It was their chance to try to put themselves up and into victory lane, and unfortunately, this is going to get interesting. We'll have to wait and see where the officials' call is here on where these drivers will get stacked up, because there is pretty solid contact here. Take a look at Jacob Stefanski down low, sends it in there a little too deep, watches up the racetrack, makes contact with the 20 right of Philip Sexton and our race leader, Jeremy Sexton. It shoots Jeremy around sideways on the racetrack. Philip and the 8 ride of Tyler Jackson continue to battle door to door right there, but look at everybody else just continue to pile into this one, man. A lot of these drivers know where to go, including that 4X Ryan Howard, man. You gotta feel sorry for this 4X rider, Ryan Howard. Obviously, Jeremy Sexton, Philip Sexton, they end up getting contact and damage there as well. But, man, look at the 4X. Sends it in there. Stefanski sideways right in front of him. He runs into him. They all start to stack up. Nowhere to go for Bryson Collins or Cody Ernest. You look at Sweet T, Ty Dickinson. He's right in there as well in the whole inside lane, just getting stacked up. Everyone trying to get checked up. And, unfortunately, it shoots a lot of these drivers into that outside lane, and a lot more drivers running into issues as we'll stack them up, rack them up, get ready to go back to green flag racing. And it looks like they're going to give Jeremy Sexton the race lead here once again, and it looks like iRacing has reset the laps here as well. So I'm not sure what's going on with iRacing, or maybe my SDK, but it is no longer 4 laps left to go here. They went back to lap number 61, so this is going to be the 62nd lap completed here this evening, but it did give Jeremy Sexton the race lead here, put him back out in front, and gave Philip Sexton, Ryan Howard their positions back, so they get to keep on battling here this evening. But another caution flag will fly out there on the racetrack, as I do believe potentially Jacob Sexton, maybe a few of these other drivers running into some more issues here a little deeper in the field. Jacobs rolling the outside lane, gets up into that outside fence, loses the rear end. Finally, that 101 car goes around there after the hard contact with the outside fence, pointed the wrong direction. Will tow that thing back down behind pit wall. And unfortunately, I think for a lot of these drivers, their nights have come to an early end here. So I believe for Jacob Sexton, Marcos Pace, Tyler Ryan, Bryson Collins, Josh Peacock, Jeremy Akins, Tim Taylor, Shane Matthews, Chad Puderbo, they are all down and off the racing surface here. And unfortunately for a lot of these drivers, potentially already, going over the incident limit and unfortunately out of this feature event here this evening. So we're left with 18 drivers on the lead lap and still competing here this evening. Actually, we do see Wells is scored as the race leader here, but iRacing is messed up here, chat. iRacing is definitely messed up. Derek Rice isn't even in this race anymore. It says he's completed 66.09 laps out there on the racetrack for Brian Wells. He's at the back of the field here, but for the 86 ride, iRacing is still scoring at that. He has ran 68 laps here, and it's still scoring him as, caution laps are potentially counting for the 86 run where it reverted everyone else back quite a few laps here. And the white flag is displayed, so this whole session is messed up, and potentially Brian Wells may win this race by default if he keeps on rolling out there on the racetrack. If Wells keeps on rolling, he crosses the start-finish line, he's going to win this race. The checkered flag is going to fly here. Green flag is back out, so the admin crew is going to have to go through this and try to figure this one out, because for Jeremy Sexton, he's got the race lead. He is out in front. He is leading the way here in this feature event, and again, it is messed up, and it sent Jeremy Sexton, all these drivers, back to lap 56. What in the world is going on here? I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's iRacing or if it's SDK. What in the world is happening here, chat? So it is showing here that Jeremy Sexton is our race leader. So that's good that iRacing at least has it. It's still showing us that Derek Rice is out in front, but he is already DNF from this race. So I think iRacing has gotten it figured out here now that we've got a lap or two under the green flag conditions. And for Jeremy Sexton, he's hoping to try to win back-to-back races. So looks like iRacing has figured things out. Things are back to where they're supposed to be. And for the 2020 ride of Jeremy Sexton, he's got the race lead. He's got 4 more laps left to go. And now we'll finally look to try to hold off Tyler Jackson again for the race win here on a Wednesday night street fight. Philip Sexton rolls there in third with Will Hargreaves working his way up and into fourth. Ryan Howard there in fifth. Cody Ernest, James Ellington, Ty Dickinson are top 8 with Jason Calhoun and Cameron Stefanski rounding out our top 10. Jeremy Vaughn, Dakota Proud, Stephen Burrow, Jacob Stefanski, and Dan Stifler are top 15 with Jim Revis, Derek Rice, Brian Wells, Jacob Sexton, and Marcos Pace are top 20. But look out, there's contact back here. These guys got to play it safe. They can't be running into more issues. More X's may disqualify them from this feature event. And luckily enough, no late race caution flag. And for Jeremy Sexton, he will see the white flag fly. So for the final time here this evening around Lincoln Speedway, it is the beautiful Doghouse Chassis, Cocky Floyd Consulting, Sexton Peyton Body number 2020, the Mad Dog himself of Jeremy Sexton, who will go back to start the season as he picks up the checkered flag and wins here at Lincoln Speedway. Tyler Jackson will come home in second, and Philip Sexton will round out our top 3. And we're going to play this back quickly because after the checkered flag, it looked like maybe Philip showing a little displeasure here with T-Jack. Runs into the corner, runs through that 8 ride, and sends him up into the outside fence, and a few other drivers pile in there. But man, obviously for a bunch of these drivers, they got to be careful. Try not to get any more X's here. Even though it's after the race, you can still end up with some X's here. So you want to be careful not to give yourself a late race penalty. But for Jeremy Sexton, man, he finds victory lane. He pulls himself up and into the winner's circle here this evening as we'll get ready to pull him in for another post-race interview, man. Back-to-back wins to start the season for Jeremy Sexton, man. You can't get off to a hotter start for that number 2020 ride as we'll get ready to pull him in the rest of our feature winners up here, or our rest of our top 3 up and into the booth here for their post-race interviews here today, man. What a run, what a drive, what a performance here for these cats, man. That was a lot of fun. That was some great racing. We'll get ready to pull our race winner up and into the booth here in just a couple more seconds as they're going to be waiting patiently down pit side. Let's get him up here into the booth. He's waiting here. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Congratulate our race winner, Mr. Jeremy Sexton, right now for a big win again here this evening. Great race, great battles, and for the 2020 ride, back up and into victory lane. Let's get him here into the booth. Hey, Jeremy, it's Aaron up here in the PeaceMaker Broadcasting booth. They get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Jeremy, man, another great run, another great race for you here this evening as you're able to, pick up back-to-back wins here and off to a hot start on the season, winning our opening 2 races as you park your 2020 ride up here into victory lane, man. Take us back through this one and what's going through your mind after what was a bit of a wild night. Obviously, quite a few caution flags and kind of got tied up there in a late one. Luckily enough, you're able to get your spot back and able to, keep yourself at the front of the field to win this race.
Yeah, my heart sank, man. I thought it was over when I didn't know who got into me, and then I seen the contact was from Jake. I guess he just got in a little hot or something. He's a good racer, and things happen, man. I make mistakes too. Um, really, after the heat race, the track was so locked, I didn't know how it was going to be, and luckily was able to pick off a few spots and get the lead, and able to hold T-Jack off at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Able to hold off Tyler Jackson. It's always a fight there to keep that 8 ride back there at bay. But now back-to-back weeks, you're able to finish in front of him. And that is a great break for you because that's an extra little bit of points gap that you can kind of put between yourself and T-Jack here early on the season trying to hunt down this championship.
Yeah, so I should have led the most laps, I would think, and led a lap period. So that should be like 5 or 6 extra bonus points on top of it. So that'll help. Um, I was kind of concerned at the end because I know he started deep in the field, and I figured he saved tires, and he's probably absolutely the best at conserving his tires. I'm still trying to learn, and I talk to him just about every day, and he's been telling me a few things here or there. So I was trying to be smooth on the gas and not spin, and I guess at the end I had just enough tire to hold him off because he didn't close in on me and try to pass me.
Yeah, absolutely. Wasn't able to draw into you there, even with that late race restart, and really just never able to poke his nose into the battle here for the race lead as you're able to just hit your marks, kind of slide through the middle of this racetrack because, man, it was slick, and obviously we saw the lines kind of change quite a bit out there. We saw, a lot of drivers finding a ton of speed early on in that outside lane, and then it looked like the bottom really was working well there for you, and T-Jack and a bunch of drivers rolling that inside groove, and then it kind of moved in through that little bit of a slider lane into that middle groove, and then it was kind of just any spot you can find that extra little bit of grip late in this race to try to hold these guys off. Man, take us back through this race and how this track kind of took shape here at the end of this one.
Yeah, I knew that at some point it was just going to be straight through the middle, and sometimes it'll build like a crumb line that's pretty good. And then you can run that cut down in 3 and 4. You just got to be careful if somebody's right on you because you'll end up getting wrecked, and it'll be your fault, obviously. Um, I just tried to be smooth and float through the corner without spinning, and tried to save tires the best I could, and also try to get some bonus points. Those are going to be pretty important, I believe, because T-Jack's phenomenal points racer. It's going to be tough, and I lost 10 points last week because when I passed Ellington for the lead, me and him made a little contact, so I got deducted some points for that, but it's all good. Um, just thank Jim for the league, and I know tonight tested his nerves, obviously, because all the cautions, and this is just one of them tracks that it's easy to overshoot the corner, and then it's real narrow coming off the corner, so it's just tough. If the car's running the top and you're on the bottom, you tend to meet in the middle, and um, nobody's fault really, just tough racing.
Yeah, tough racing, tight racing out there, and we talk about it every time we come here to Lincoln. It kind of runs almost like what we see in in NASCAR and stuff too, with Martinsville, where it's kind of got that different feel. You don't really kind of run the same speed around the inside to the outside or anything else, and a lot of drivers, kind of run it a whole bit differently because of the difference on corner entry and corner exit, where a lot of drivers will back the corners up and get a little slower on corner entry and try to get a better drive off corner exit, where a lot of other drivers are the complete opposite, and that's where we see a lot of calamities and caution flags kind of arise, because some drivers will send it in there deeper to get a better entry to the corner and try to slide up towards the middle and just get a little bit of a slower exit speed for their race cars. But it's that middle portion on corner entry where one guy's slowing down, one guy's speeding up and sliding through the corner, that we see that contact and the caution flags tend to fly.
Yep, that's right. Everybody runs it a little different, and luckily most of us race with each other enough that we kind of know what each other's going to do, so it does help in that aspect. Um, but still, I know there was a few little bit of tempers flaring there at the end, but that's just part of tight racing, and everybody be fine.
Yeah, definitely tight racing, and obviously probably a lot of tempers flying there. We saw a lot of drivers starting to drop into this race as they were starting to hit that incident limit. And unfortunately, not being able to complete this race, including, obviously you look at, Jacob Sexton, you look at your other teammate Marcos Pace, and so many other cats that, got tied up in a couple issues, a couple incidents, maybe even if it was no fault of their own. But you get checked up or you run into somebody else and then someone else runs over you. It's very easy to get that 4x 6x before you even make it around a set of corners out there on the speedway.
That's right. I ended up with a 6X. I had a 2, I guess, early on, and then when Jacob got into me, it gave me 4, and then when the caution come out, Hargreaves checked up, and I didn't check up in time, and I got in the back of him. But it's that's just typical Lincoln.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Typical Lincoln, typical issues there with the yellow flags and the contact and the beating and banging here in a tight speedway here in this one. But man, heck of a run, heck of a drive for yourself, though. Able to keep T-Jack and Philip Sexton, Hargreaves, and Howard back there at bay and park yourself up here in victory lane, man. Jeremy, who would you like to thank again here this evening for another great run and great performance out on the racetrack?
God first and foremost. Everybody in the kennel that races with us, all of our guys in there, and sad, but this will be Marcos's last race with us. He's got to take a job, unfortunately, and it's Thursday morning for them, noontime probably. So he'll only be able to race on his weekends. So he'll miss all this now. I wish he could have had a better run. JC, Jordan, Ethan, all those guys with Cocky Floyd that have helped us get to this point. Josh with Josh Patterson with JPack Graphics, you for the broadcast, Jim for the league, and dealing with all of us. And just everybody that races, everybody that comes and supports it, everybody that watches it. My buddy Dave watches still. My wife, my dad, we have a bunch of friends watch. I know T Jack has family. Um, every little bit helps, and I know it helps build your channel as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone that watches and tunes in, man, is always, a blessing for myself, and obviously, being able to bring in the content, everything else, and continue to build and get bigger myself tends to, help me out a ton as well. But man, we can't thank you guys enough. All you amazing drivers, each and every single week showing up and showing out and putting all these great races and drawing all these fans into the stands to enjoy such great racing action. Here tonight, man, another great show, another great performance for that 2020 ride as you park yourself back up here into victory lane, man. What do you got up your sleeve? Do you think you can make it 3 in a row next week?
Oh, I don't even know where we race, but it's going to be hard to do that. I only got one all season last time, so there's some tough guys in here, man. And if you get behind in a heat race or something like that, it is very tough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Very,
I
very
just
tough.
I just happened to be able to run this track fairly decent, and it worked out.
Yeah, worked out perfectly for you here tonight, and it looks like we are heading to Knoxville Raceway next Wednesday. So Knoxville next week.
I love that place too, so it'll be fun. Hopefully, get a good start in the heat.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be fun to see what you guys are able to do, and another great show for us to enjoy next Wednesday. But, Jeremy, congrats on the win, brother, and hopefully we'll see you right back up here in the broadcast booth next week.
I appreciate it, man, and hopefully talk to you then. Have a good night.
You too. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Mr. Jeremy Sexton, as Jeremy picks up the checkered flag here this evening and pulls the number 2020 up and into victory lane, man. Heck of a run, heck of a drive there for him this evening. As we'll get ready now. We're going to jump in and pull in our second place finisher, the 8 ride of Tyler Jackson. Let's get T-Jack up here into the booth. Hey, Tyler, it's Aaron up here in the PeaceMaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
What's up, Aaron?
Not much, Tyler, man. Great run, great race for you. Obviously, early on, trying to, dodge some bullets, keep yourself, clean and out of trouble here early on, and trying to save a little bit of tires there. And it kind of works out nicely for you. Maybe just getting going a little bit too soon, and then obviously having a bunch of those late race caution flags may have kind of equalized a little bit of the tire there later on in this race. And it looked like you just could not get enough there to try to battle with Jeremy Sexton for the race win here this evening, but another solid second place run here this evening.
Yeah, we got a 10 in our heat, so that sucked, but luckily we passed 6 cars and got 4th. And then the no B mains killed me again this week, not being able to advance my starting position. And 11th is a lot better than 20th last week, but this track it's narrow. It's a lot of fun, but it's narrow, and yeah, it was just kind of, I don't know, it wasn't even really saving tires. It just seemed like I was constantly in the wrong lane, and I just wasn't trying to push it because some of the names in front of me I knew would burn their stuff up, and just kept waiting, dodging some cars here and there, and then we finally got, we cracked the top 5 and kind of started to go for it, but thought maybe that top in 1 and 2 would come in. It never did, and I don't know if the track took rubber or what, but it kind of got really one lane there at the end. And tried our best. Didn't have anything for Jeremy at the end. Philip's pretty upset, I guess, but you can't have every lane on the track. It's I've been racing with him for a while, and it seems like when those guys see you coming, they start pinching you off every chance they get. And I'm going to keep running the line I've been running. And I mean, if we make contact, I guess we make contact. I don't ever do that when I see somebody catching me, completely change my line usually. But is what it is. So he's upset, and we had a terrible points night again. I mean, second, you'd think that'd be a good points night, but it's not good. So it is what it is. And we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, back-to-back seconds. You feel like you'd be, pretty happy, points-wise. But, trying to be so consistent and everything else, it's tough to be that number 1 driver in the point standings when you look at Jeremy Sexton, who's able to win the first 2 races of the season. And, again, being able to build that little bit of a cushion points-wise here early on in the season.
Yeah, he dodged a major bullet there. When Jacob got into him and half spun him, and I thought his night was ended. But luckily, he got a spot back, and he was obviously the best car at the end. It's going to be tough. We're in a pretty big points hole, but there's a lot of racing left to do. And, we've had 2 really not bad heats, I guess, 1 bad heat, and then just a terrible draw, and the no B main's been killing us. But Jim will get that fixed, and if we start getting bad pill draws, or whatever, and have trouble, maybe if they're only having 3 heats, you win a B main, you'll be starting 7th or 8th, and that'll be a little better than 20th and 11th.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely better than starting that deep in the field. And for next week, it's going to be another one of those racetracks that you want to kind of start a little closer towards the front, headed to Knoxville. How do you feel heading into our 3rd race of the season?
I'll use Jonathan Davenport quote. I hate that dump. I don't like it. Nothing about it I like. It's always 1 lane on the bottom, and once we get in line, nobody passes. So you get a bad pill draw there, it's going to be a long night.
Absolutely. So it's going to be very, very, good RNG to get a good pill draw, and then obviously, being able to work yourself up there, whether or not it's for a heat race win or a top 3 to lock your way into the, top 9 to start this feature event. We're just trying to get a, good spot to hopefully try and, get a good position in that consolation race as well to start that little bit closer towards the front here. But man, it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be very, very interesting to see how it all plays out, and who gets a little lucky, who gets a little unlucky, and see who can maybe make a late race charge, even if it does get bottom side locked down. We didn't think there was gonna be a whole lot of movement here until we started to see those caution flags fly here tonight, and it looked for a while we were gonna go clean and green for a lot of this race. And then after 22 laps, it just kind of opened up the floodgates. The chaos started, and as the night went on, man, a lot of drivers unfortunately hit that incident limit and had to park down pit road, and it opened up the door for a lot of these guys to gain a ton of positions. When you look back there, like Jason Calhoun coming home in 9th, you look at Ryan Howard there in 5th, even sweet T Mr. Dickinson, he raced his way up into a solid top 10 run this afternoon as well, man. Some great finishes for some of the guys that on a normal night at a track like Charlotte or something maybe struggle a little bit more later in the race.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for all those guys, and half of this game is just trying to keep your nose clean, and the more laps you get, and just kind of reading track situations or car situations is a lot of it. As you can be lucky sometimes, but if you're constantly missing the wreck, you're probably seeing it before it happens, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, it's good for those guys to get up there and mix it up with us, and yeah, we'll just go on to the next one. It sucks not being happy about a second place finish, but yeah, we'll figure it out. We got a third and a second, and like I told you last season, if we talk to you every week, we'll probably be all right. Jeremy's gonna have some bad luck at some point, or get a 10 pill draw or whatever, and maybe we'll get a 1 or start up front and be able to capitalize on some bonus points for most laps led or something like that. I know if I ever do start up front, we're just hammering down, and we'll let the tires just burn right off.
Absolutely. Well, we can't wait for that night to see you back up here in Victory Lane. But T-Jack, you got to settle for a second place again here this evening, brother. Who'd you like to thank for another strong performance out there on the racetrack?
Yeah, thank my parents for watching, family and friends that watch, you for the broadcast. I always enjoy them. Jim for putting the league on. He's gonna be busy tonight. Just it is what it is. I mean, we started a lot of cars, had a lot of guys in spots they normally don't start in, and it's a narrow track. It's really narrow out there. You really can't run, especially coming out of 2. It gets so narrow coming out, and there's bumps, and yeah, it's gonna be one of those weeks where there's gonna be unhappy guys, and it's part of racing, and we move on to the next one, and we'll battle everybody next week.
Absolutely, and we can't wait to see you guys out there on the racetrack at Knoxville Raceway for race at number 3 of the season, and hopefully we'll see you right back up here in the broadcast booth. T-Jack, congrats on another great run and great performance here this evening, and we'll talk to you hopefully next Wednesday night.
Yeah, hopefully we can pull into the Knoxville Victory Lane. That's kind of cool when you drive through the fence. It makes you feel kind of special parking up there. So we'll see. Not my best track by any means. Just the big half miles just aren't really my forte. But been doing some time attacks, adjusting some stuff, and maybe we'll show up with a little more speed than we had tonight.
Absolutely. Well, we look forward to seeing how it all plays out for you, and we'll talk to you again and see you back out there on the racetrack next Wednesday night, brother. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
All right, have a good one.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, Tyler Jackson, as T-Jack comes home here in that second spot. We'll get ready now to pull in our third place finisher, Mr. Philip Sexton. Hey, Philip, it's Aaron up here in the PeaceMaker Broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
What's going on, man?
Not much. Philip, man, strong run, great race for you here this evening. A lot of tight battles up there at the front of the field between yourself and teammates, and you throw in, Cody Ernest and Allecton and a bunch of these fast cats here throughout the evening. But, it looked for a little bit there. If we stayed clean and green late in this race, it was going to be a Sexton 1 and 2 finish, and then all of a sudden a little bit of carnage on the restart. We see the 7X of Mr. Stefanski send it in there, a little little too deep, and all of a sudden it just kind of opened up the floodgates right there. And luckily enough, you and T-Jack were able to slide through there. There's contact between the two of you as Jeremy goes around, and luckily enough, he at least gets his spot back, able to keep on battling. You're able to duke it out here and come home with, two of the top 3 spots here this evening, man. Take us back through and what's kind of going through your mind. Obviously, tight battles early on, and then tough battles there late in the race as well.
Yeah, absolutely. For one, this track is a difficult track to run with that many cars and that many people that are staying on pace with each other. You're getting 3, sometimes 4 cars wide trying to fight for the same line or just a line, and it gets really difficult, gets really tight, and if you're 3 cars wide and one car bobbles, it messes all 3 cars up, and then everyone behind it. So it's some tight racing. I had a couple, obviously we had a few cautions. I felt fine during the race. I was pacing with everybody. And then I know early on I got spun sideways, and that let Jeremy by and a couple other cars. So I had to fight my way back up towards the front. And then the wreck with Stefanski and Jeremy happened. And I thought they were going to lose their spots. I'm actually surprised it gave it back to them, or gave it back to Jeremy at least. And so then we went back to fighting, and then right off that restart, I think, I don't know, T-Jack sent it in there a little too hot and doored me, pushed me up through the slick, and he got by, and then that's just all she wrote.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all she wrote. And luckily enough, you're able to hang on to it, though. There's still a lot of fast cats back there behind you that have been racing their way up through that carnage and everything else. When you look at Hargreaves and Howard, even Ernest trying to battle his way back up towards the front after leading early on in this race. And, you're able to hang on for a top 3 finish here, man. Another great run and great performance for yourself this afternoon. Who would you like to thank for, podium run here at Lincoln?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was a great race, a lot of fast guys, and these 70 lap races, when the track gets slick, that's kind of where a lot of the moves are made. So sometimes it's hard to stay up front, but all the guys over at Cocky Floyd, JC and Jordan, all those guys, of course my brother and Jacob Sexton and Marcos and all the guys we race with, Derek, all of them. So, we just all kind of hang out, have fun, and at the end of the day, that's all it's about.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about right there. Having some fun, enjoying your time here on the simulator, and putting on a show for the fans of the stands. It's a good show here tonight, man. A great race, some great battles out there, and we can't wait to see what you guys got in store for us next week as we head to Knoxville Raceway. How are you feeling headed into Knoxville?
I like Knoxville. I know it gets pretty, it kind of races, a little similar to what we did tonight. Everybody's kind of fighting for the middle to the bottom lane, and it's going to get tight. And my God, if the line doesn't move off the bottom, it's going to be a train fest. So I feel good going into Knoxville. I can run in the top 5 there.
Yeah, absolutely, and it all comes down to that lucky pill draw and just getting a good heat race, and then, if anything, get lucky enough to be able to run that consolation race where even if you do come home, 5th or 6th in a heat race, you can at least advance yourself forward a little bit better for a better starting spot in the feature event. But here tonight, man, a good solid heat race, good solid start to this feature event, and you find yourself coming home with a top 3 performance. Phil, congrats on a great run. We can't wait to see you guys back out there and hopefully see you right back up in the broadcast booth next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And of course, Jim, and be looking for my car next week. It might have a shark harpoon on the front of it.
All right. We'll look forward to it, brother. Philip, have a great rest of your night, and congrats again on the 3rd place run.
You as well. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our 3rd place finisher, Philip Sexton, as Philip comes home here in position number 3 here this evening, man. Heck of a run, heck of a drive there for that number 20 ride, man. Heck of a show, heck of a run, man. And maybe a little shark harpoon on the 20 ride of Philip Sexton, trying to maybe give one back there to T-Jack late in that race if he gets an opportunity. I'm sure he's going to, put that one into the old memory bank. T-Jack may owe him one later in the season. If it's not next week, it may be any of these other weeks. So we'll have to keep a close eye on those too. But man, heck of a show, heck of a run, heck of a performance from each and every one of these drivers here this evening, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed another great night of racing action with the Dirt Warrior Racing League's Wednesday night street fights. Can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. Can't thank you guys enough for showing the love here in this one. If you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Become part of the PeaceMaker family here this evening. And we will see you guys back in here potentially tomorrow night. I don't know if we got anything planned for tomorrow night, so probably be back Friday. We are back Friday for certain with our Friday Xfinity series or Cup series on Friday nights. So gonna be back into the action, back out there onto the asphalt, some more great racing and great battles here on PeaceMaker Gaming, and we can't wait to see you guys back up in the grandstands cheering on our Friday night series. But thank y'all for watching, thank y'all for tuning in. We'll catch y'all back here in the next one, man. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love. Man, that was a heck of a show, heck of a race, man. These guys put together for us here this evening. That was a ton of fun. But thank y'all for watching, and we'll catch y'all back here in the next one.
Sun's sinking low on a workday sky, but there's a hellfire looking every driver's eye. You can hear the engine screaming from a mile away, tearing up the silence at the end of the day. Fire in the pipes and a blur in the eyes, where the clay meets the chrome and the sheet metal flies. It's a different kind of gospel, a different kind of heat, when the rubber meets the clay and the slide's complete. It's a Wednesday night street fight, hammer on the gas, tailing out and screaming, looking for the pass. From the green flag drop to the checkered flags waving, it's a Wednesday night war and the dirt we're craving. No points for pretty, no room for grace, just a bent up bumper and a killer pace. Yeah, we're living for the slide and the engine roar. Wednesday night street fights, give us some more. Got a dirt track legend and a beat up Chevy and a rookie kid that's right foot heavy. He's searching on the high side, looking for some grip. One wrong move and he's gonna let it slip. He's leaning on the cushion, bouncing off the wall. You gotta have the guts if you're gonna have it all. Let the sparks fly high, let the header scream. Everything you got for that dirt track dream. It's a Wednesday night street fight, hammer on the gas, tailing out and screaming, looking for the pass. From the green flag drop to the checkered flags waving, it's a Wednesday night war and the dirt we're craving. No points for pretty, no room for grace, just a bit of bumper and a killer pace. Yeah, we're living for the slide and the engine roar. Wednesday night street fights, give us some more. Hands on the wheel, white knuckle grip, keep the nose tucked in, don't let it slip. Riding the berm, a catfish in the bottom, find a gap and you know we got her. Wash off the mud, fix the bent up tin, just to turn around and do it all again. It's midweek mayhem underneath the lights, chasing down the checker through these dirt track nights.